this ball represents and what this hole represents are the first 4 games of the season, the first quarter of our season. So this ball, to me, goes in this hole. Okay? It's 4 games worth. All right? Goes in the hole, and I'm going to put the first piece of dirt on it. Okay? Anybody else that wants to put any dirt on it, you help yourself. And if you don't feel like you need to do anything like that, okay, I'm fine with that. But here's your shovel, here's your tool, and those 4 games are over with, and we're about ready to go to work here.
Football! Football, yeah! Football! Football!
The late Tony Sperano. Forgot that we had that clip.
Oh, that was a great clip.
Well, I feel like he was a little too passive at the end there. He's like, we're gonna dig this hole. We're gonna bury those first 4 games. Like, you don't have to.
He was Zim's guy.
You don't have to do it if you don't want to.
Sad stuff.
Tony Sperano, man. All right, this is Purple Daily. Phil Mackey, Judd Zolgad, Declan Goff producing. And it's a 4-question Friday, but I believe we're posting this on a Saturday because we had some breaking Gary Kubiak news to address yesterday. So 4-question Friday. Are you guys ready for this? I've got 4 good ones for you here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm confused about the day of the week, but yes, I'm ready.
And maybe we're posting it on a Sunday. I don't know. You
say,
never know.
But what if to me? I could wait. I could just never post this either.
But what if I watch it on a Monday?
Well,
sabotage show.
Well, that's your problem.
That's a me problem. All right.
Yeah.
Looking for a new producer. Yeah.
All right. Let's start with this one here. Okay. And I keep butchering like the emphasis on which syllable and pronunciation. I'm just going to go for it. Robert Saleh. Saleh?
All right.
Saleh.
I'm going to just steer
the
clear.
new head coach.
Phonetically, the pronunciation that I found is capital S-A-L
Saleh.
hyphen small u. What would it be? The rest of it's small.
Yeah.
Lowercase, I should say.
Yeah. So we're emphasizing the first part.
Saleh.
The Saleh.
I think Saleh. Yes. I think you nailed it.
Okay. Bald Rob, the football coach, will not.
He loves football.
He is a big time.
He loves football.
Yes.
Football.
So he loves football, but he will not call defensive plays with the Jets because he wants to take on a CEO approach to the job.
Oh.
Considering how bad the Vikings defense was in 2020 and the pressure on Mike Zimmer to build a winner here, should Mike Zimmer get out of the defensive play calling business and be more of a CEO?
I'm going to say that I believe that he should, but I'm going to go back and post-date this and say he should have done this a few years back, because what do we talk about? And I know we all agree that when Mike has his defensive personnel in place, that it can be very good. But what do we talk about as being the shortcomings of Zim on game day, right? It's things like thinking things through, like the challenges, the clock for sure, right?
Yes.
For sure. Timeouts for sure. Calling one side of the ball, and I know that there's a lot of offensive guys through the years that have gotten hired because of that and actually call plays. But nonetheless, I want to take you through what I perceive to be the most important job of the coach on game day. That is to be up to date and to know exactly what's going on both sides of the ball. It is to manage the clock. It is to manage timeouts. All of these things, and it's a lot. All of these things, though, get taken away from if I am hyper-focused on one thing. So I understand that Mike's forte is defense. I get that is his thing. But I will say this. I think what Robert Saleh is doing here is actually a very good start, and I think it's very smart. It does not mean that during the course of the week in the build-up to game day, he will not have a huge hand in how the defense is going to operate, the game planning. But if you're going to give yourself as much of a chance to be successful at the nuance of in-game coaching, which I think is incredibly difficult, then taking the CEO, I'm going to know what's going on game day and manage it, is very smart.
Yeah. What about you, Dex?
I'm still bullish on him being a defensive-minded person. I want him on the field for that. Now, if the question is removing him from the head coaching job and making him literally just a defensive coordinator, don't worry about the philosophies on offense. Don't worry about the philosophies of a game flow or coaching in-game decisions. I'd rather have him be in that mold. But in terms of a football CEO, I just don't know if his influence would translate.
So I disagree with Judd on this. And I listen, the picture you painted is a picture that works great if you have a coach that understands how to play the CEO role. You know, John Harbaugh is a great CEO. John Harbaugh is constantly thinking about clock management and timeout preservation. And by the way, some guys are CEOs and also call plays. Like Andy Reid, although Andy Reid has been early in his career was really bad at clock management.
Yeah,
I think he's been a little bit better in recent years.
Mhm.
Some guys can do both, but Mike Zimmer is not a CEO type.
No.
He is who he is.
Exactly.
And they've decided to go forward with him. And so I think if they can get some pieces back on defense, I would say, all right, ideally it would be great to have more of a CEO coach who kind of can put his hands in the offense over here and be much better at timeouts and strategy and game theory and those things. But because he's Mike Zimmer and he is who he is and he's unapologetic about that, I would say, all right, dude, you dial up the plays, we'll get you Daniil Hunter back, and you make that defense as good as possible, and we'll get you a left guard, and somebody else will call the plays on offense. You know, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
If you don't have that gene, though, to get the big picture on game day has to be the most important thing. If I own a team, I'm really down on my GM. If you got a guy who it's very clear to me is just a football guy who doesn't get the game itself.
Yes. There's so
like
much
I want
more.
I want my coach to be a CEO. Hey, look, my strength is on offense or defense. That's fine. But I also want that person to have what you talked about, Phil, the John Harbaugh. I also get what the ultimate job on Sundays is.
Offense, contrary to the old cliche that defense wins championships, offense drives championship success in modern football. And we brought this up on another episode here, Purple Daily, that you go to Football Outsiders and they have what's called DVOA, and they essentially rank offenses based on how well they perform in context. So it's not enough just to rack up yards. They'll ding you for garbage time. They'll elevate you for a 3rd and 15 conversion in their metrics.
Mm-hmm.
And the top 5 offenses in the NFL this year include the 4 teams that are playing this weekend. And so I take issue with head coaches that are defensive minded to start with, because it's like, all right, you're defensive minded. Well, offense is kind of what's driving the league. And then if my defensive minded head coach also wants to be like bogged down calling defensive plays and thinking even less about offense, it's kind of a problem.
And then he wants to run.
And so that's probably a reason to replace Mike Zimmer at some point. But because Mike Zimmer is the coach, he's not a CEO type. Just focus on what you're good at and see how far the Vikings can go. All right. Question number 2. 4-question Friday. Okay. This is another one from Judd here. I'm stealing these from Judd. Pick one player off each current team left in the playoffs and put that player on the Vikings. And I'm going to throw a curveball at you and say Pat Mahomes is off the board.
Oh, I thought of this.
Quarterbacks.
QB's off the board.
Yeah.
That's fine too.
So I took
That's fine too.
I took all QBs off my board.
Okay. Start with Judd.
All right. From the Kansas City Chiefs. I debated between Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. But I'm going to go with Kelce. Tight end, dominant.
Wow.
Prototypical what you want right now in that spot. 105 receptions, okay? 11 touchdowns, 23 catches of 20 plus yards. I'm going Travis Kelce. From the Packers, Devontae Adams, obviously. 115 catches,
Wow.
1,374 yards. I had a defensive guy too, but 18. I mean, can you imagine if I could plop him on a roster with Justin Jefferson and Thielen? Oh my gosh. From the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this one was a little bit more dicey. I do not take an offensive player at all with quarterback
Do
off
coaches
the board.
count? Can we take Bruce Arians?
Of course you can, but I took a defensive player, and I took a young linebacker. No, not Antoine Winfield Jr. He'd be my second pick. My first pick, linebacker Devin White. 9 sacks, 18 tackles for losses, 4 pass breakups. Incredibly impressive. And then finally, from the Buffalo Bills, I couldn't help myself.
Yep.
You got to do it. You got to pull the trigger on what might be the best wide receiver going right now. And certainly is one of the best in the game. 127 catches, 8 touchdowns, 20 catches of 20 plus yards. Stephon Diggs. So I went Kelce, Devontae Adams, linebacker Devin White from the Buccaneers, and Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, we're almost in lockstep here. For the Packers, I have Devontae Adams. I mean, he might be the only wide receiver who was more dominant than Justin Jefferson.
I'm updating mine as we go because I want different ones.
Sure. Yep. Okay. So I want Devontae Adams. I do think he is probably the number one best wide receiver in the NFL right now. I'm going Devontae Adams. For the Bills too, I want my boy Stephon Diggs back with a different coach, different philosophy. All of a sudden, I mean, my God, you couldn't even construct this on Madden. Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen.
Thielen's gone.
Thielen, yeah, you know what? Screw Thielen. He's out of here.
He'd
Sorry,
be an
dude.
ambassador for the
He's just
Vikings.
gone.
You can also go to the Packers. Don't care. You have 3 deep there. I'm all for it. For the Chiefs, though, I'm going with the Honey Badger.
Yep,
I want
looked at that
Tyrann
one.
Mathieu on this.
dude.
I don't know how. He was with Arizona before, I
Yes.
believe, correct? I don't know how they just let him go away here. He's unbelievable at his position. He's super smart.
That's a great
and
one.
having a savvy guy with him and Harrison Smith possibly on the field
I love
together,
it.
dude. Good luck.
I love it.
I'm with Judd on the Bucks too. I think Devin White is unbelievable. This is what you want Anthony Barr to be. 140 tackles, 9.5 sacks, a guy who can get after the quarterback. This is who you wanted Anthony Barr to be. And the Bucks have a real special linebacker here. So my players would go Devontae Adams, the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, Stephon Diggs, and Devin White.
All right, so I'm sort of adjusting this on the fly here because I don't want to just pick the same ones. But so I'm going to start with meat and potatoes with you guys. I'm going to start with Green Bay, okay? This offensive line can pluck a couple real interesting hog mollies off these teams. And one guy is 25 years old. He's the left guard for the Green Bay Packers. And PFF has him as the 7th best pass blocking guard in all of football. Elgin James.
Okay.
Come on down.
That's good.
So I know
That's a great
Devontae
one.
Adams would be the sexy one.
Yep.
It'd be great to have him in here for a 3D, but you know what? If Kirk can't drop back and have a couple seconds to survey the field, it's not going to matter.
You're right.
So we're gonna go. We're gonna go there. I'm gonna go with Buffalo. I'm gonna take Stephon Diggs because he has proven what we thought for many years in Minnesota. That boy, if that guy was just like given the same amount of chances as some of these other teams in the NFL give their top receivers, he'd probably be up in that mix. And so Stephon Diggs is back on my team. Tampa Bay. This is a bit of a see. This is where like he's not playing right now because I think he's out for the season since like week 5 or 6. But they've got one of the best interior defensive linemen in the NFL named Vita Vea.
Yep,
and he's in his 20s.
You're right.
This would be a long play. I'm taking Vita Vea to play interior defensive line for me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is not sexy. Kansas City Chiefs. They've got a 29-year-old center who's also a really good pass blocker named Austin Ryder. And so I'm taking a left guard, a center to replace
you got a good
Bradbury.
offensive line now.
I'm taking Vita Vea to shore up the trenches. I'm shoring up the trenches,
Oh.
and then I'm bringing Stephon Diggs back for a 3 deep with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Because I think if you fix those
Look at
things,
what you did.
Honey Badger is interesting because you're going to need another secondary weapon there. But if you fix the trenches and bring back a third wide receiver, that's amazing.
I'm just going high flying
Vikings win
act.
the Super Bowl.
I'm going tightrope act. And hey, on Diggs too, the one thing, and this is not an insult on Thielen, but the one thing is, for how long did we basically say, hey, it's 1A and 1B, right? This year, solve that one. It wasn't.
No, Stephon
Adams
Diggs
a really nice player, but he's a 2.
Yep, he was always kind of more of a safety blanket for
Stephon,
Cousins.
like Stephon Diggs put the exclamation point on, look, it's not me and Thielen, it's me again, and then Thielen.
All right, question 3 on this 4-question Friday. I don't know if you guys saw this image yesterday. So Joe Biden, I don't know if you heard, but Joe Biden took over the presidency earlier this week for Donald
I
Trump.
haven't been paying much attention.
Crazy. I've mostly just been watching NFL Network.
I watched Dan Campbell, so I don't know what's going on there.
But there was a picture of the differences in the Oval Office now, and one of them is former President Trump used to have a little like black box with a red button in the middle of his desk.
Dump button, right? Just like we have here.
Yeah, we have one in here. It is the dump button in case we swear on live radio or something.
Kirk's almost made me do that a couple times. Yep.
And somebody had said, yeah, I was in his Oval Office for an interview for like an hour for like a magazine interview one time. And I was wondering, what does that red button do? And eventually in the middle of the interview, Trump reached across and he pushed the red button. And a couple minutes later, a butler with a silver platter and a Diet Coke on it walked in and delivered a Diet Coke to Donald Trump.
Yep.
And so presumably this is a Diet Coke button that used to be in the Oval Office. Now, Joe Biden got rid of it because, you know, he's a heathen. Why would you not want a Diet Coke button in your office? But if you guys had a button in your office or wherever, like, let's say at home or whatever, like somebody, you hit the button and somebody will deliver something to you. What would you want them to deliver? What would you want that button to represent?
Oh, so many things. So many choices.
But it can only be one thing. It can't be
Right.
like...
Right. If I had a red button on my desk, you know what I think it might be? a nacho button.
Oh my
Nachos.
God. I had never thought on my
nacho button.
On my board there that Judd would put nachos
Really?
on.
I didn't know you were such a nacho guy.
It's a great snack.
Nachos are great.
It's a great snack. It's not, and if they're done right, you can have nachos at 4, dinner at 6, nachos at.
Wow, don't get too crazy.
Anyway, I would have a nacho button.
Are you talking like
Nachos
like
with
beef
cheese.
nachos, chicken nachos?
You know what? I would
shredded
probably
pork nachos.
Can I have the button have some alternates so I can decide as I punch the button? Because
well, there's only one
sometimes you
button.
do want chicken. Sometimes you want beef. Sometimes you just want cheese on your nachos. So I'd like to be able to decide, but it would be just a starting point to answer your question, a nacho button.
Okay. What about you? And then you could call it nacho button when somebody asks, "What's that button for?" Nacho button.
Oh, that's good. Thanks.
I'll show myself.
Oh boy.
For me, all right. Well, this is tough. I mean, I would love it to be a Corona Hard Seltzer button, but I just basically
A
have
new
those
woman
in the
from
fridge.
Tinder walks in
I don't
every
do
time.
Tinder.
Declan.
Nope. We could have this conversation on
let 'em
another
down button.
podcast, but
Let
I
'em
don't
down
need
button.
Tinder. No, I'm doing just fine.
Yeah, it's
anyway,
the Corona Hard Seltzer button.
yeah,
for Dex.
I think, and I talked about this on Mackey and Judd the other day. I love ginger ale, and especially on a Saturday, Sunday when I've had too much fun with my Corona Hard Seltzers, I need a ginger ale. I want a ginger ale button.
Okay.
And also, it's a great mix too when I do want to drink with my whiskey.
Sure.
So I want a button that goes with ginger ale.
Okay.
So I'm on ginger ale.
I tweeted this last night. I stand by it. For me, I just want the Perkins chicken tender melt with a giant
specific.
cup of ranch dipping dressing.
I love ranch dressing.
I do
guys-
too.
Have you guys
I
ever
do
had the
too.
chicken tender
That
melt at Perkins?
seems like you'd get full a lot though.
It's okay.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Like I got nachos, which I can not get as full on. But yeah, I mean that's fine. It's your button.
Well, I mean,
It's
you
your button.
you can get full off nachos.
Oh no, I know, but I don't know. I mean, it's a good. Perky's is great, man. I'm never gonna put
Perky's.
Perky's down. Okay,
It really is. Yeah,
long live Perky's.
it's amazing. So, what would you get? Let us know in the YouTube comment section. What would your button be for? I don't know.
Football.
Okay, final question here for you guys. Fourth question on this 4-question Friday. Deshaun Watson odds. Sportsbetting.com. Declan found this.
Okay.
Sportsbetting.com, by the way. What a great idea
Yeah.
for a website.
Seriously.
I don't know who grabbed that back in the late 90s. Here are the odds. Jets plus 200. So that would be, I'll just translate. 2-1. Jets 2-1. Dolphins 3-1. Bears 4-1. Broncos 5-1. Patriots 8-1. That'd be amazing to watch.
Mm-hmm.
8-1. Colts. Eagles 10-1. Vikings are 30-1.
Yeah, I can see that.
They actually have all the teams listed here. It's amazing. I'll go to the bottom. The Chiefs and the Packers are at the bottom at 300-1 and 200-1. And the Seahawks are 100-1 along with the Bills. Who do you think winds up with him at the end of the day? Do you think he stays?
Oh,
What'd you guys say?
well, I'd be curious to see who they do hire eventually as coach because I think that could play a role. But the relationship seems like it's deteriorated beyond belief. And so my guess is he does not stay. I think he does force his way out of Houston. And I think I had this and write that down on Wednesday, so I will stick with it. I'm going with the Dolphins. I think the Jets take Trevor Lawrence because the contract will be so good for 5 years. And then you can build around him. The confidence is that he is going to be, I believe, a generationally great quarterback, right or wrong. If you're the Dolphins, though, and you can spin Tua and send the Texans back their top pick as a starting point that you got in, I think, the Laramie Tunsil trade, Phil, and now the Dolphins have Watson, that to me makes the most sense. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
Dex?
I'm going with the Bears, man. I'm going with the Chicago Bears because I think it'd be a hell of a lot of fun. It would keep Allen Robinson probably happy too. You might be able to sign him as well. I think it'd be a great move for the Chicago
Do
Bears.
they have
I'd be
enough-
terrified, but
In light of the Khalil Mack trade, do they now have enough to send to the Texans?
I don't know.
Let me check their
Because they traded
2021
a couple
picks.
draft picks. I think they traded 2 first-round picks, if not a little bit more.
I think it'd be a heck of a lot of fun if you went there.
They do have a first, second, and third round pick this year.
Okay, so yeah.
In fact, I just pulled up a
Be a nightmare for the
SportsIllustrated.com, SI.com has a new mock out, and they've got Zach Wilson falling to 20 and being selected by the Bears. It's interesting.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
20?
If that happens, I'd fire everybody if that happens.
Seriously.
Oh my God.
I'm going to stand by my write that down prediction from last week. The San Francisco 49ers are 20-1 on this list,
That's a good one.
but they just make a ton of sense. If you plop Deshaun Watson in with Kyle Shanahan and all the different things that they have going once they get healthy players back, I think that makes sense. Vikings at 30-1 are a long shot, but
if it wasn't for the Rams giving up a haul for Jalen Ramsey, also the Rams would be a hell of a lot of fun with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and the Rams,
but they're stuck with that Goff contract too. I don't know how you get around that.
Yeah, San Fran can just
the Garoppolo
piece out on Jimmy G this year.
Absolutely.
The Rams can't do that with Goff. So, all right, that's a wrap on this 4-question Friday episode of Purple Daily. Thanks for hanging out with us.
But it's on Saturday?
Or someday that Declan decides to post it.
Have a great day.
It's probably May by now. You probably already know where all these guys are.
Yeah, before my Corona Hard Seltzers, I'll try to get this in and scheduled. So
don't worry about it, Dex.
Sounds good.
Just keep on drinking.
It's not my job. It's fine.
See you guys.